and see how it is received in Hong Kong and over in the West. Just before the inauguration a couple of weeks ago, China launched the two sixth-generation fighter jets, an amphibian vessel, and another drone carrier, all within a week. Do you think that message is well received? I mean, well, with quote unquote, well received by the Trump administration. Was it necessary for the sake of world peace to show your muscle at that particular time?
I don't think that it makes much difference whether it's 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after. The basic point is we have three military superpowers armed to the teeth, and these three powers can defeat the other, even conceptually, other than through world self-annihilation. In other words, the only threat that China faces from the United States is tantamount to a full nuclear war. The only threat that the United States faces from China is tantamount to a full nuclear war. The United States could not defeat Russia. Russia could not defeat the United States. Given all of this, the fact of the matter is we're actually secure, the major powers. If we stay out of each other's lane a bit, keep space between each other, don't provoke each other, the world actually is stable. The problem of the last 30 years was that the United States didn't know that there were two other superpowers whose lanes they kept crossing. It proved that the United States cannot beat Russia in its own neighborhood with conventional arms, and that any attempt to escalate, Russia would escalate and we'd be on the way to world destruction. So the United States, I think, learned a lesson from this. Well, let me put it this way. The United States should learn a lesson from this. The question is, did the United States learn the same lesson vis-a-vis China? Because there obviously are two provocations by the U.S. in China. One is Taiwan, and the other is the South China Sea. And if the United States is halfway sensible, it will say, we're not going to disturb you in your own neighborhood. This is your own business. And if the U.S. does that, there will be peace, there will be normal relations, there will be mutual security. If the United States says, well, we can do what we want, or it's worth provoking China, there will be disaster. Trump is probably a little bit less likely to provoke China than Biden was. Biden's administration was really incompetent, and they were rude to China, did not engage in diplomacy with China. A couple of meetings were held so that not everything fell apart. But basically, it was a terrible administration. The United States is in a very confused mood. And when I say the United States, all I mean is the elite in the security system, because the U.S. mentality, and Trump expressed it in his inaugural address, is the U.S. is the exceptional country. And if you take that belief seriously, you end up creating a lot of trouble because other countries just want you out of their front yard or backyard. And so whether Trump gets that and uses restraint, that's the major test of his presidency, actually. A smart president is one who exercises restraint in the mutual interest of the major powers. A stupid president is one who provokes the other major powers. And so this is Trump's single biggest challenge. If he does and says, you know, we don't want to have war with China over the South China Sea or war with China over Taiwan, this would improve global security incredibly. So all of this is to say, yes, China's making huge advances in many arms systems, in missile systems, in nuclear, in hypersonic systems, and so on. Not surprising. But we don't want an arms race. We want mutual restraint. And this is really the question of whether the two sides can be smart enough to say, if we back off a little bit, don't encroach on each other's core interests, then the tensions will come down and we could actually make more money, have a better life, have more security, and so on.
But I agree that the big powers are wise enough, and I at least hope that they won't really engage in a pattern of activity that ultimately lead to mutual destruction. And I think we also agree that the U.S. has a lot to do, can do a lot to restrain so that it does not really have a slippery slope to get into it. And the key is also, we can hope that the U.S. is going to be smart enough not to do certain things to provoke it,